You might find people telling you, oh, why are you so slow? Why does it take you so long to make a decision? Well, you're really deeply processing. You want to get all the facts. You want to explore all the different options. So if you resonate with that, you're like, oh, that's totally me. And then O is easily overwhelmed. So that's the
Thank you for tuning into Time for You Evolve for female entrepreneurs. Remember, you have what it takes to achieve greatness. Your time is now. You're here with me. You're ready to change lives and you're ready to change the world. Isn't it time to skip over the confusion and start creating sustainable and consistent results? We're going to pull back the curtain and start giving meaning to life in this podcast. Time for You Evolved. Hey, my name is Lisa Carmichael, and I am obsessed with everything online. It's no secret in this crowded and highly competitive business world, we need to stand out. It's even more important at a deeper level to stand up for ourselves. I'm a farm girl who grew up shy with zero confidence. If someone had suggested that I would eventually start a podcast, I never would have believed it. As a farm kid, I had the unique opportunity to embrace a holistic approach to life. All the seasons of growth were lessons that have helped me and other female entrepreneurs find success when they've been stuck and struggling. The Time for You Evolved podcast is here to help you navigate business online so you can be laser focused and help you navigate the messy and the magical in every season of your business. Pull up a seat to hear the tried and true secrets that other female entrepreneurs like you are facing and get ready for real talk while you learn. This is the Time for You Evolved podcast. They're entrepreneurs ready to work smarter, not harder. Let's talk video marketing. It's the savvy way to attract, retain, and convert faster than any other strategy out there. Who can blame you? Creating videos can be frustrating, time consuming, and downright intimidating. That's where Big View comes in. It's the solution for your frustration. With Big View, you can create professional videos with ease thanks to its teleprompter app. I've been using Big View for years. Big View is an app that has saved me a lot of time and hassle. The app makes it easy to create professional looking videos. It's an online teleprompter that allows the presenter to keep eye contact with the camera while reading the text they need to speak. Big View allows you to focus on your performance and delivery so your confidence shines through. Whether you're a marketer, blogger, trainer, or business owner, Big View is designed with you in mind. If you're ready to take your video marketing game to the next level, click on the Big View link on my website, lisarcarmichael.com/bigview. Join me and be the best presenter you can be and learn how to make great presentations. Today on the podcast, I am chatting with Mira Binzen, a business coach dedicated to helping highly sensitive entrepreneurs, whether they're just starting out, growing, or expanding their impact. She's also a deep sensing soul, an author, yoga therapist, and the founder of HSP Holistic. After decades of exploring consciousness, holistic living, and business, Mira guides fellow HSPs in building businesses that align with their need for freedom, rest, and purpose. So I can't wait for us to hear your wisdom, Mira. Let's dive in. Welcome to Time for You Evolved for female entrepreneurs.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. So tell me, first of all, HSP holistic. Tell me, and tell the listeners what is that all about?
Yeah, let's start by defining some terms. So, highly sensitive person is a personality trait that was only defined in the mid 90s. So, if you're in your 50s or 60s, you grew up without even having that way of describing yourself. When I was growing up, I would just keep saying, oh, I'm a delicate flower, recognizing that I had a sensitive sensory system and that I had a way of going about the world that didn't necessarily match the majority. And that left me feeling kind of out of sorts, like what's wrong with me, trying to mask, trying to fit in. And so, highly sensitive person is a way to talk about how your nervous system interacts with the world. And the more understanding we have about our unique way of being in the world, the more empowered we are, and the more we can create a lifestyle and a way of being that really suits us, that aligns with our nature.
How does that align with being a highly sensitive entrepreneur?
Well, a lot of business advice out there is really like the opposite of what I advise people to do when they're highly sensitive. So, for example, I heard a woman stand up at a networking event and she said, "Here's how you network. You go up to every person in the room and you get their business card. And then you go up to other people in the room and you get their business cards." I was like, no, don't do that. So, it's just a different way of approaching how you do business, which really honors the need for rest, the need for time to process, and how to align your business choices in a way that feels energizing and not draining. So it's not like it's not hard work, but it's work that inspires you and energizes you versus drains you and leaves you feeling depleted and burned out.
Right, because many times as an entrepreneur, we don't have well-defined boundaries. I believe that many highly sensitive people struggle with overcommitting and then they absorb too much from everything around us, from other people, from other entrepreneurs. So, can you like share some practical ways that we as entrepreneurs can set up boundaries while still showing up for our business?
Yeah, absolutely. Boundaries is a big topic. In fact, last week I was at a high school, two different high schools, giving a talk to the seniors about personal wellness. And one of the topics was boundaries. And they were like, they all wanted to talk about boundaries, simple limitations we set for ourselves and others to promote our personal wellness. And so, an example of boundaries is our work hours. We still work based on industrial practices of going to the factory and putting together widgets from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's not how our natural rhythms work. Anybody, but someone who's highly sensitive is really going to feel the impact of working in a way that doesn't suit your natural energy cycle. So you might find that in the morning you have more energy, you can get your blog post written, you can have those interactions and connections that matter for your business. And in the afternoon, you want to take a nap, you want to take a walk in nature. And taking a walk in nature or taking a nap and lying down gives you the energy that you need to go do the thing to engage in your business in an effective way. So, healthy boundaries could be I don't take appointments from 2 to 4 p.m. because that's my quiet downtime for myself. Healthy boundaries could be I don't work on Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays because we really aren't naturally productive for 8 hours a day. It's a real misnomer. I still look in wonder at the corporate world where they're still trying to get people to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It's so unnatural. Nobody's productive in those times. So you can get your work done in 2 to 4 hours and really honor that you're being productive, you're doing the things to move your business forward, and then honoring the rest of your life. Time with your family, time to pursue your creative endeavors, time to rest and take care of yourself.
And the struggle is real. We all overcommit ourselves. How does that happen?
Expectations for yourself and from society, and the real big myth, and I'm into busting myths, the big myth that you're only as valuable as you are busy, like busy as a badge of honor. And that's just something we need to deconstruct for ourselves and recognize that busyness doesn't equal our value in society, although that's the message that we get. And so overscheduling can be, and you have to look in for yourself and see, but it can be a way to compensate for feeling inadequate. It can be a way to compensate for imposter syndrome. If my calendar's full, I must be worthwhile, right? And so to really look at the reason behind the busyness. And then another level is trust. Trusting the process, trusting yourself. When I talk with my clients about packages, and we're stuck to this dollar per hour equation, but when you think about when you start doing something, you're not as good at it. It might take you a bit longer to do it, but then as you become more proficient, should you charge less because it takes less time? No, you should charge more because you're more of an expert at it. So valuing our time in a different way too is a way to not overcommit. Just recognizing what our time is worth and that we have to constantly deconstruct the myth that enjoying life, gardening in the afternoon isn't being lazy or whatever
Oh, and that
messages we carry.
I think it's so true for women, even more so than men. But let's talk about the word that I said earlier, absorbing from others. So how does that affect highly sensitive people differently than anyone else?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of a distinction that I think is important for each one of us to understand for ourselves. An empath is somebody who absorbs another person's emotional experience. So if you're super excited, I will also feel super excited. If you're angry, I will also feel that anger within me. Whereas a highly sensitive person tends to be more aware of another's emotions. So I can sense if someone's a little irritated, but I don't necessarily feel that irritation within myself. So that's a nice distinction. So an empath is going to absorb other people's emotional experiences, where a highly sensitive person is simply more aware of them. If you are absorbing someone else's emotional experiences, then you need a way to discharge. And one way to do that is to be in nature. Another way to do that is any sort of mindfulness, body based practice. Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, actually moving the energy through your body moves the emotional energy through your body as well. Grounding practices, bare feet on the ground, maybe not in Minnesota when it's 30 below zero, but connecting with nature in a real physical way is one of the best ways to process and eliminate emotions like that.
And so all of that aligns with rest because
Yeah.
you integrate intentional breaks into your schedule as an entrepreneur. How can other entrepreneurs who are listening right now duplicate that?
First, you got to give yourself permission. First, you got to dismantle the cultural programming that tells you need to be productive to have worth, and then to recognize nature recognizes this. There's a deep rest through the whole winter season where nothing's happening, but because of the rest, nature's able to like give it all she's got for spring, right? And really put a lot out there and be very productive, but it's only from the rest. And so to recognize that your rest is actually the resource that you need for productivity. We truly can't operate on an empty gas tank. And so to fill that gas tank as a way to be able to continue to cruise down that entrepreneurial highway it just makes sense when you look at it that way. It's like you need to be well resourced in order to do your best.
Well, I think back to myself during the holidays, and I caught whatever bug that was going around. And as I laid on the couch, thinking, how am I ever going to accomplish all the things that are on my to do list? And what I did is, well, I was taking naps and I was resting and I don't know if I was recuperating. Well, I was trying to feel better, but it really led me to believe, like, did I burn myself out that I got sick? And then it was interesting because the only way that I could get back into the groove was maybe doing one or two things at a time after a nap, after a rest, just turning everything off. And yeah, so Mira, I've been trying to like incorporate that into my regular business. I'm not taking naps, not quite there yet. But just always remembering I don't want to be on the couch again thinking, will I ever be Lisa again?
I think this is a real significant line of inquiry, especially for a woman who's been around for a half century or so, and it's like, well, is this of value to me? Is this who I am? Does this contribute to my quality of life that matters to me at this phase in my life? And yes, to answer your question, your body will tell you when it's time to rest. If you don't give it rest, it will make you rest. People say, "Oh, I need a break," and then all of a sudden they've got a broken ankle. It's like, okay, time to rest. So preventative rest is a good strategy.
Gotcha. So I have a marketing background and I'm curious, who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is a woman and we've been talking about this, which is really interesting, midlife. But midlife kind of indicates someone in their 40s. how do we talk about women in their 50s and 60s? And I've been having conversations, and you know what? Our society doesn't really have a life stage indication for an older midlife woman, senior, golden years, all those crappy terms that we don't identify with. But my ideal client is someone who has been successful in life, who has put a lot of energy and resources and all of her talents into fulfilling someone else's dream and is done for one reason or another. A woman who was 59 years old was let go from Cargill, right? She had an amazing career there, but it's not as easy to get back in once you're out. Or someone who's just done, like, this work is literally making me sick, and I need to find another way to contribute in the world. So, not done working, but done doing the kind of work that they've been doing. And someone who's highly sensitive, and a lot of times that's a discovery process. What does it mean to be highly sensitive? A lot of conversations I have is, oh, well, that's me. I'm highly sensitive. I worked with kids who are highly sensitive my whole career previously. And of course, I understood them because I'm highly sensitive, but I never really knew that term, the trait, personality trait, highly sensitive person. So this woman is ready to make a professional change, wants a little more autonomy. I say sovereign stream of income from micro business that's soothing to the nervous system, and wants to do it in a way that's lifestyle forward.
Does a person one day realize that they're highly sensitive after years and years of just trying to fit in?
That's often
Or
the case, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, they recognize the character traits of being highly sensitive, but to have it identified and described can be really insightful and really helpful. And then there's a lot of reframing, going back and saying, oh, that's why that happened the way it did, or that's why I responded the way that I did. I found out about being a highly sensitive person because a good friend of mine who I traveled all over the world with called me one day and she's like, I just found out I'm a highly sensitive person and I think you are too. And I was like, tell me about this. And she had had a really strong emotional response to a situation, much stronger than the situation indicated. And it really left her feeling unsettled. She was like, wow, what's going on with me? And so she did some research and she came across the term highly sensitive person. And she's like, oh, it's like this piece of my puzzle was missing. And understanding that term has allowed me to complete that puzzle.
are there like check boxes that meet that criteria of being a highly sensitive person? How do you define when someone is that label?
Yeah, so like I said, I've worked with what we now are calling neurodivergent children my whole life, and those terms and those labels and those diagnoses are constantly changing. So I really want to empower people to self-understand or self-diagnose, if you want to use that term. It's important to make the distinction that it's not a disorder or a disease, it's a personality trait, kind of like the Myers-Briggs thing. It's like, what's my inclination? How do I tend to interact with the world? But there's an acronym called DOES, DOES, to describe each aspect of the trait. And D stands for a depth of processing. So you might find people telling you, oh, why are you so slow? Why does it take you so long to make a decision? Well, you're really deeply processing. You want to get all the facts, you want to explore all the different options. So if you resonate with that, you're like, oh, that's totally me. And then O is easily overwhelmed. So that's the challenging aspect of the trait, but we can manage for that by resting and taking care of ourselves so we can handle that easily overwhelm. E is emotional responsiveness, like we talked about. And then S is sensitivity to sensory input. Bright lights, loud noises, scratchy sweaters are agitating and can really get in the way of us doing what we want to do in the world. So to manage for our environment and our sensory experience. So if you're like, oh gosh, that's me, I'm totally like that. I have a quiz on my website. So you can kind of go, yep, 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 that's me. Some people are really sensitive to caffeine. Some people absolutely cannot watch scary movies. I can't watch scary movies and I can't listen to the music they play in scary movies. It's, oh my gosh, I have to plug my ears and close my eyes.
Yeah, I'm not a scary movie person either.
Yeah,
For even
gross.
more reasons than that. And I do have to apologize because I am not, I don't like labels. And maybe that's why I put it out there. And Why are we so stuck on putting a label or putting everything in a box?
I agree with you completely. Working with kids who are labeled ADHD, labeled with anxiety, it really begins to define them and they start to make choices in their life based on that label. And I'm also anti-label. And so there's two aspects to it. One is if you do get a diagnosis, that is a ticket to services that you might need. So that has a value there. The other is self-understanding. So if you can understand yourself better based on a set of criteria that helps you to put a frame of reference on how you're experiencing the world, that can be helpful. But I also agree with you that it's not good when we're using it as a crutch or an excuse, or I'm in this camp, this is my campfire girl group that we're in or whatever. So they have a place. And I agree that that's why I say self diagnosing or self understanding. If you feel like that's you, that can give you a framework that you can use to work with. Like I like a certain kind of music. So when I'm looking for the music that's playing, I know which genre I'm looking for because that's the kind of music I enjoy. So when you have that understanding about how your nervous system operates, then you know, oh, you know what? There's a huge party that's going to be loud. I'm going to make sure I don't have back-to-back appointments that day before that party. That's just not going to work for me.
As you talk about kids, I was thinking a couple weeks ago about the school system and how kids gravitate toward each other, sometimes based on academics. Like the smarter kids hang out with the smarter kids and the dumber kids. And I mean, that's not an okay thing to say, but s- I is the grading system going away, do you suppose? And is it really necessary? Is it necessary for the kids to know each other's academic level?
I'd like to see the entire school system go away. I think our school system is extremely outdated and ineffective, and I'm not in the school system, so I really don't have a right to say. I don't have kids in the school system, and I no longer work in the school system. I used to as a yoga teacher for kids, but yeah, I think ranking based on cognitive ability is a very small portion of the human experience, so it's a big
Hmm.
conversation. Yeah,
Well,
just
let me ask you this question. Why would someone want to reach out to you?
someone would want to reach out to me if they've started their own business with that dream of having autonomy, freedom of time, freedom of location, freedom of creative direction, and they've found that it's really challenging. And they're looking for support. They're looking for a framework that they can put their own personality into, and they're looking for a way forward, and they want to save, oh my gosh, 10 years of testing and wandering in the forest and listening to bad advice and conflicting advice, and have someone who really understands a holistic approach to running a business that aligns with who you are and where you are at this phase of your life.
If you could wave a magic wand, how would you like them to feel as they are working with you and going through the process?
I would like them to feel comfortable being who they are and to start to peel off the layers of masking to fit into a society that doesn't support or understand your own unique way of being in the world. I would like them to feel inspired and aligned with their purpose and relaxing into trusting the journey that they're on.
That's beautiful. Definitely. And can you share with our listeners just a little bit more about your background, how you got started in this practice and created your business?
Sure. As a highly sensitive woman in midlife myself, I went through a bit of a crisis. I had some really serious mental health challenges. I was letting go of a business I had started that I ran for 20 years. And I was looking for the next thing, next phase of my life. How do I want to be operating a business in this phase of my life? I've been running my own businesses for over 30 years. and I love it. I love the process of having my own business. I really am independent. I'm a solo pilot in that way. And I was actually reaching out to highly sensitive women and helping them with a midlife reset, like a holistic lifestyle. And in that process, several of them were asking me, "Well, you have your own business. How does that work? How do you do that? I want to do that. What does that look like?" And I would start sharing my experience, and they were like, "Wow, you know so much about this." And I realized, like, yes, I do. I've taken every business course out there, and I've been launching online courses for 15 years, and I understand the logistics of running a business, what to do and all the what not to do. And so I found myself being a business advisor for a certain kind of a woman who wants to run a certain kind of a business, a micro business that's we're not going for $1 million launches. That's a different kind of business advisor. So it came to me through the way that I'm now helping women develop their next business or first business in some cases.
And what are the services that you offer?
The main offer I have is a 9-month group coaching program because it takes about 9 months of gestation for a new baby business. And so it's ongoing. People can join at any time and go through their own process of basically getting super clear on who you are and what you have to offer, why you're offering it, getting super clear on what channels you want to use to connect with people and build your community, and putting together packages and programming, and then a lifestyle to support that all. So it really is a holistic approach, and that's called the collective. So that's the main offer. I also do one-on-one coaching. I have a little mini course on how to build your first online course, which is a great component of having your own business.
Tell us a little bit more about the collective. So it is 9 months long. How many people are in the group? And when can people get started on that?
It's a small group because that's one thing that everybody I've talked to about is like, is it small? Is it a small group? 8, 10, 12 people max? And it's open to start anytime. Everybody's kind of on their own journey. Some people are brand new to their business. Some people have been running a business for a couple of years. And we do live group coaching twice a month. And then a third time we gather each month for the new moon mindset. So we work with the energy of each new moon, and we really talk about all that programming that is influencing our decisions and really become conscious about the messages that we're giving ourselves and transforming those into positive messages, because that's a big piece of running your own business. And
Hmm.
so there's a place to interact. It's like a Facebook group, but it's not on Facebook. It's on my own website. So it's a nice, private, cozy space where we can interact with each other and, hey, I just wrote this email to my new clients. What do you think? And that kind of real practical support, as well as just encouragement, sharing our weekly wins, asking for accountability, that kind of a thing is in there as well.
And for someone who's not quite ready to jump into the collaborative, I see a bunch of books behind you. Do you have some favorite authors that you would recommend?
Yeah, if you're just finding out about anything along this neurodivergence that we are talking about, that the whole world is talking about, the term neurodivergence wasn't really used 10 years ago. There's a book called Divergent Mind by Jenna. Oh, I'm not thinking of her last name. Oh, here it is, Jenna Nuremberg. Divergent Mind by Jenna Nuremberg. That's a great one to really understand, especially if you're a woman, because all of the research isn't done on women. So we're just completely left out. That's why there's so many women as adults who are starting to recognize, like, oh, I do have this way of operating in the world. So it can be empowering. And then the book, Highly Sensitive Person by Dr. Elaine Aron. She's the woman who coined that term. She's a psychologist who's also highly sensitive and recognized that it's actually you can measure the brains of it. So that's interesting to find out as well. So if you're exploring on that level, that's a great way to go. As far as
Okay.
business books, gosh, there's so many. I don't know. A lot of them are just like, yeah, don't do that.
Well, we'll put a link to those books in the show notes so that people can take a look at those and that they can look at your website as well, so that maybe they can take a peek at your group.
Yeah, and if someone just wants to have a conversation, just ask questions and share their idea with me. I have a free clarity call that people can book as well if you just want to have a conversation.
Is there anything else that you would like the listeners to know about you as a coach?
That's an interesting question. Well, my background as a yoga therapist and my love of international travel and spending an enormous time in nature. I've lived in a tent, I've lived in a teepee, I've done a lot of whitewater kayaking and a lot of multi-day treks. And so I really love that analogy of nature adventuring and the adventure of running your own business. So that definitely shows up in my work, as well as the whole heroine's journey, which is a little bit different than the hero's journey, where we're on this journey. There is a process, there is a path, there is milestones that are known, and that all weaves into the practical steps to generating a sovereign income stream.
Gotcha. And what was it like living in a tent? How long
Right.
did you live in a tent?
For about 6 months total, 1 year. And one place I had my tent set up, it was in Zimbabwe, and there was a jacaranda tree, and these trees have purple, like lilac flowers, and they would rain down on my tent. And I had an open screen on the roof of my tent, and I would wake up in the morning just with this like shower of purple flowers. It was like magical.
And how did you end up there?
We have to start another hour. No. I was just traveling extensively
Yeah.
and focus on rivers, really. And one of the biggest and coolest rivers in the world is there, Victoria Falls and the Zambezi River. And so some friends and I were headed over there.
Are you ready to go back? How long has it been?
It's been a while. That was a
Oh,
previous era of my life. I was traveling a
yeah.
lot in the late 90s, early 2000s, pretty much continuously for about 7 years. And that's been a while now. I'm a little more domesticated.
Oh, and you're
Owning a home
here.
in the suburbs with a dog and a cat and an awesome partner. And we've got a camper van, so we still do our weekend trips up to the North Shore of Lake Superior. Is one of the most magical places on earth, much closer
Hmm.
than Zimbabwe.
Yeah, there, being living in Minnesota, there are a lot of things that we can do in the outdoors that can, yeah,
Yes,
people
we're
come to
very
see. So
fortunate.
we have it in our own backyard.
Yes, we're very fortunate to live in a place that is 70% water like we are.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really want people to start to recognize the possibilities that they might not have before, that things are changing, that we are evolving, that there is a new era and a new like level of being, and that it's okay to let go of what we've done before. It's okay that something was working for us, but it isn't anymore, and to completely redesign our lives. In fact, that's a natural process. So I just really want to invite people and encourage people to hit that reset button, whatever that looks like for you, and know that you can do it differently and you can do it in a way that's authentically aligned with who you are, and that who you are has value. It doesn't have to be like anyone else, because it's who you are and your uniqueness that's really your special sauce. That's your magic wand.
Mm, I love that because when we're so busy, we don't get to know ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's really key in building a business and having a healthy life.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Mira. I appreciate you joining us here.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Okay, let's pause for a minute. As female entrepreneurs, we're so busy and we have so many things to do, and we're constantly saying to people, I'm overwhelmed. I have so much on my plate. Is that something we really want to manifest? Because when we say, I'm tired, I can't keep up, I have too much on my plate, those feelings will continue to grow. They will actually amplify. I love how Mira teaches people how to honor themselves, how to honor their energy, and helps entrepreneurs find small ways to shift their thinking. And they're thinking about themselves and about their business. Because isn't it time to start showing up for ourselves and finding our confidence. And I've said this before because when we're confident, it just makes the world a better place. Until next time. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Time for You Evolve for Female Entrepreneurs. If you loved this episode as much as I did, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and if you want to support the show, leaving a review goes a long way. A special shout out to our amazing partners and sponsors. Their support allows us to continue bringing you engaging content every week. And with a big thank you, I look forward to seeing you next time. If you're ready to supercharge your email marketing and automation game, look no further than my favorite autoresponder, ActiveCampaign. It's the ultimate all-in-one platform designed to turn your contacts into customers and your customers into loyal advocates. Imagine having a tool that not only understands your customers, but anticipates their needs. That's what ActiveCampaign does. With its powerful customer experience automation, you can create personalized journeys that nurture leads, drive sales, and build lasting relationships. The biggest reason I chose ActiveCampaign after trying other autoresponders is because I wanted to make sure my emails were being delivered and not going into spam. I need to know that my emails actually get to the people I'm emailing so that I have good engagement rates, response rates, and click-through rates on every email I send. Then I can have peace of mind that what I send out about my blog posts or upcoming events gets delivered and that people get to read what I write. ActiveCampaign offers live support through chats, webinars, and in-person study halls, again, which is so different from those other email services I've tried in the past. If you're ready to up your marketing game, go to my website, lisarcarmichael.com/activecampaign, which is my partner link, and sign up for a free trial. Experience firsthand the power of ActiveCampaign and take your marketing to a new level.
Hi, friends. Let's have a heart to heart about something that's been a significant part of my life, skincare. As a busy female entrepreneur, I need a quick and effective routine. About a year or so ago, I stumbled across my secret weapon, Droplet. It's made a remarkable difference in my skin. Now, I'm a self-proclaimed skincare junkie. I've tried it all, from serums to spa treatments, and even once selling a natural body care line. So when I learned about Droplet, I knew I had to give it a shot. Droplet delivers personalized skincare with its micro infuser, penetrating ingredients deep into your skin. It's like a Nespresso for skincare. It's quick, easy, with capsules that are recyclable. No cleanup, no hassle. Droplet's formulas are clinical strength, dermatologist recommended, and are cruelty free. It's a skincare lover's dream. If you're ready to evolve beyond the basics, head over to the Droplet link on my website today where you can start your own personalized Droplet routine. Investing in a good skincare routine is crucial for any woman, especially us busy entrepreneurs. First impressions matter, and you want to put your best face forward. Droplet offers free consultations with their estheticians to address your skin concerns. Here's to glowing, radiant, and fiercely beautiful you, no matter what age you are. Get your 20% savings by heading over to my website, lisarcarmichael.com/droplet.